And we're going to talk to an interesting guest here, conservative commentator Joy Tiz. She's written about the Fort Hood shootings. One of the articles is called The Grand Deception, Jihadis Among Us, and others called Massacred by Political Correctness. Joy, welcome to the Young Turks.
Hi, thank you for having me.
No problem. First, let's talk about massacred by political correctness.
Yeah.
Tell me why you think political correctness led to what happened at Fort.
Well, I think there were a lot of warning signs that Hassan was a jihadi among us, and the military would look the other way because they were basically told to look the other way. In fact, there was a quote from the FBI saying that we would be crucified if we brought this to anybody's attention because he's Muslim. It's another one of those protected groups.
So you keep saying Muslims. Now, I'm telling you, I'm very worried about extremist Muslims, and you will not see a program, and you can go back and look at our clips on YouTube. You can become a member of our show if you like and go back and listen to our shows.
I will.
You will not find a program that is more dead set against fundamentalist Islam. Okay, the stonings and the women can't drive in Saudi Arabia, and the list goes on.
Mutilations.
Genital
mutilations.
Absolutely, and no one, I guarantee you, goes more ballistic about that than I do. Okay, but those are extremist Muslims.
So we're really building bridges here.
Okay,
I agree with you.
Okay, exactly. Now, do you believe that's all Muslims?
Well, no, that's absurd.
Okay, that's absurd. So
that's
I just want to understand.
A huge number of people. So even if only 1% are extremists, we've got a big problem.
Okay,
There's something like 7 million Muslims in this country. So if like 1% are jihadis, I think we have a problem.
If 1% are jihadis, where do you get that?
That's the number that everybody wants. The liberals keep wanting to throw that at me and say only 1%.
No, first of all, Joy, I've never heard that number. I don't know where anybody, liberal or conservative, is getting.
Well, what number could you live with?
1% of all the Muslims in the country are jihadis?
What number could you live with?
Where do you get the number of 1% are jihadis?
Well, I get that from liberals, but what number would you give?
Which liberals? Name the liberal.
What number would you give them?
I'd give it, so far, I would count the guy who did the fragging in Iraq, who was a Muslim extremist, it turns out. I'd count John Mohammed, the guy who just got executed, the D.C. sniper. And I would count Malik Hassan here. So
well,
I'd put it at
like
3.
The Taliban and those guys and Al-Qaeda?
We're talking about inside the United States. You just said the 7 million Muslims,
do that.
right?
See, this is a
hold on.
operation.
One thing at a time. Inside the United States, you just said 7 million Muslims, and you wanted a percentage.
No, I said in the world there's 7 million Muslims.
In the world, there's over 1 billion Muslims.
I think it's closer to 7 million, but I'll stipulate it. I'll give you that. I'll let you have 1 billion.
No. It's not. It's a fact. It's not. You can't.
Okay. I'll give you that. I'll stipulate to that.
Okay.
You can have that one.
Okay. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
But we're talking worldwide, not in the United States.
So no. This is a common trick that conservatives do, which is they say, well, look, even if we say it's as small as 1%, that would be a huge number. But who's saying it's 1%? Inside the U.S., we got 3 guys out of 7 million Muslims.
I told you could pick any percent you want.
Okay, so the percentage is 0.000000001% in the U.S. and worldwide. Again, it would be a tiny, tiny number. We have anywhere between 1.2 to 1.4 billion Muslims in the world, and out of those, there are a couple of thousand Al-Qaeda guys, right? And you could add, add some Taliban guys. Add this, add that. What do you still get at?
That way.
How does it not work that way? You tell me.
Well, a lot of people seem to think that Al-Qaeda is sort of like a corporate HQ and everything else is some satellite office that gets directed from HQ, and it's really not the case. That Al-Qaeda is one of the more prestigious offshoots of radical Islam, but it's certainly not the only one. It would be considered kind of a social status thing if you could work with Al-Qaeda and be trained by Al-Qaeda, but there's hundreds and thousands of lone wolves and splinter organizations. I think it's important to get people's heads out of the idea that Al-Qaeda is the central operation, command central. It isn't.
All right,
it's one faction that we know about.
Okay, we're talking to conservative commentator Joy Tiz. She's written about this on her website, joytiz.com. So, Joy, you're saying that it's much larger than Al-Qaeda, that it's some sort of significant percentage of Muslims across the world. Now, we disagree on those numbers, but let's get beyond that.
We're building bridges.
Okay, we're building bridges. Who do you want them to scrutinize, and how do you want them to scrutinize?
I want them to stop beating people up if they happen to bring something to your attention as a supervisor that may involve a protected class. Stop telling people they're going to be in trouble if they mention the fact that this guy was Muslim.
But, Joy, that's what you're missing. The problem wasn't that Hassan was a Muslim. There are tens of thousands of Muslims in the military. The problem was that he was an extremist, an idiot, a crazy guy who believed the suicide bombing was the way to go. So you think that it's okay for people to come in and go, hey, I heard this guy was Muslim? Yeah, of course. He doesn't.
No, I say if you hear this guy is Muslim and he gives a lecture saying you should saw off the infidels' heads and pour boiling oil down their throats,
but Joy,
that should be brought to somebody's attention and dealt with, not just transfer him to
Of course, but Joy, you see, you're making a broader argument, and that's the problem. If you say to me, hey, we got to look at extremist Muslims, extremist Christians, extremist whoever, anybody who says we should saw people's heads off, everybody in the country agrees with you. Of course we should look at a guy like that. But you are saying that the diversity is the problem. We have to scrutinize certain people more. So tell me, who do you want to scrutinize and how do you want to scrutinize
diversity is a problem. So you've got diversity in the extreme now.